Think about the last time you suddenly found yourself floating toward the ceiling of a math class, or perhaps giving a presentation in your underwear. We all share these bizarre, highly detailed experiences. But while your mind is navigating that chaos, your physical body is doing the exact opposite. Your eyes are shut, your muscles are temporarily paralyzed, and you are supposedly getting some much-needed rest. This paradox creates a very strange biological puzzle. The human brain consumes an immense amount of energy to hallucinate these alternate realities at the exact moment it should be powering down and recovering. These energy-intensive narratives suggest a specific biological function that science is still working to decode. To understand the mechanism behind the movies in your head, we have to look at a specific stage of the night known as rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. This graph charts brainwave activity across our different sleep cycles. You can see electrical activity dipping as we fall asleep, but during the REM phase, the line spikes back up to levels almost identical to a person who is wide awake. In this highly active state, the brain creates a closed-loop reality. It completely cuts itself off from external physical senses, while the emotional and visual centers are firing wildly in the dark. Notice how the logic center, the prefrontal cortex, actually dims out, which explains why we accept floating through a classroom as completely normal. Those strange movies we experience are the visible exhaust of a biological engine running at full capacity while we lie motionless in bed. To explain why the brain works so hard during REM, scientists look to a process called memory consolidation, the idea that the mind uses this time as a nightly filing cabinet. Every day, we absorb millions of individual data points. While we sleep, the active brain sorts through that raw material. It hardwires critical information, like a new physical skill you practiced, and deletes the useless noise, like what you ate for breakfast. But sorting data is only part of the equation. Researchers also hypothesize that the brain uses this active state as a problem-solving engine. By generating a virtual environment with absolutely no real-world consequences, the mind can safely test high-stress scenarios, process complex emotions, and experiment with creative solutions that our waking, logical brain might reject. This simulation process occasionally generates direct solutions. The DNA double helix, the sewing machine needle, and the periodic table of elements were all concepts their creators reportedly pulled straight from their dreams. By reviewing data and running stress tests, the dreaming brain functions as an active survival tool. If this engine is calibrated to optimize our survival and lower our stress, we have to ask why it occasionally turns on us, producing sheer terror. Nightmares occur when the brain's internal simulator becomes overloaded. When we experience real-world stress, anxiety, or unresolved trauma, the normal data sorting process can break down. This psychological overload forces our emotional centers to project intense threat scenarios. The system designed to safely test our responses ends up bleeding stress signals straight into our conscious awareness. But there is an entirely different extreme on the opposite end of the spectrum. What happens when a user successfully hacks the simulation? This phenomenon is known as lucid dreaming. In this state, the conscious mind effectively wakes up, while the body remains deep in the REM cycle. The dreamer realizes the environment isn't real, granting them control over the rendered world. Nightmares and lucid control represent the outer boundaries of this internal rendering engine, showing how it responds to extreme emotional pressure or conscious intervention. Through decades of observation, we have successfully mapped out the mechanics. We know that dreams happen primarily during REM sleep, and we can observe how they consolidate memories and run simulations. Yet, despite mapping these mechanics, the ultimate unified reason why humans must experience these complex narratives remains a gap in modern science. This gap in our understanding highlights a specific biological feat. Your brain builds a high-resolution, sensory-rich reality while you are effectively unconscious. Every night, without any manual input, your mind constructs an entire breathing universe from scratch. Since we all experience this biological mystery, we want to hear about yours. Drop the weirdest, most nonsensical dream you've ever had in the comments below.